This is Sue, and the Lord has been speaking to me in the book of 1 Samuel. And so that's what I want to talk to you about today. The Lord is talking to me about Eli and his sons, Hophni and Phinehas. And Hophni and Phinehas Eli was a priest, they were his sons, and they were priests as well. And they were really corrupt, and they were defiling the temple. And God had warned Eli, the priest, about this. But they were his sons, so he was not really addressing it with them. And then Samuel, who was a prophet, but he was a young one, he got a word from the Lord, and he went to Eli. And he was really kind of afraid to give the word. And I think that's kind of a sign of today is there's a lot of prophets who have received a true word from the Lord, and because of the atmosphere and not wanting to offend they're people who are how can I put this, they're in the seats of authority, and they consider them to be the anointed of the Lord, but they are fearful to bring a word to them, or to even though it is a word of the Lord, they feel like they might be touching God's anointed, but it's the word of the Lord. So as a prophet, you have to give, even to authorities or people over you, the word of the Lord. So Samuel did bring the word to Eli, the priest, and he spoke to him about his sons and warned him, by the word of the Lord. Well, the Philistines came and they captured the ark. And so at that moment, Phinehas and Hophni both died. And it says further down in that scripture that Eli was sitting on his seat. And the Lord said to me, that is very significant. That is very significant. The fact that Hophni and Phinehas died, they were taken out because they had been warned, and they were continuing in defiling the temple, and being corrupt in many things, doing the wrong thing, in God's name, really. And so they died, they were taken out. And Eli was in a seat of authority. He was their dad, and also he was over the things of God. And he preferred his sons over God because, there's a scripture, and I think some people don't understand what that scripture is. It says that you can't love your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, more than the Lord. And that's what it's referring to when you choose to allow your child or people in your family to do evil, and you prefer them over what God says, over God's things, then you're kind of proving that God is not first in your life, and you don't love God. You love them more, even in their evil ways. And so Eli was sitting, and it says he was watching. So he was basically allowing, he was in a seat of authority. He was a priest. God had given authority, and he was doing absolutely nothing in that seat of authority. And the Lord said to me, no one needs a seat of authority to sit there and do nothing. And that's where we are today, in churches, in the political arena. There are people sitting in the seats. They want the best seats. Jesus talked about that in another area of scripture. They're hypocrites, and they want the best seats, but they want to do nothing. And so he said, Eli was sitting in his seat. But then as he was watching, someone brought him the news about his sons who had died and the Ark of the Covenant of God that had been taken by the Philistines. And it says that he fell out of his seat, he broke his neck, and he died. You see, you do not need to occupy a seat of authority if you're going to do absolutely nothing. And that confirms another video that I did, that God is going to remove people from seats. He's first was with Phinehas and Hophni. He's going to remove people who want to continue to do evil things and to defile God's people and defile the things of God and the ways of God, and really to just cause God to look, bad and to lead people in evil ways. And so those people are going to be removed, like Hophni and Phinehas. And then people like Eli, who would, say, well, I'm innocent, I don't do anything wrong, but they just sit in the seat of authority that God has given them and they don't do anything. That's just as bad, because you're allowing evil and wickedness to just take over and you're doing nothing about it. So Eli died. And then it goes on further to say, at that moment, Phinehas's wife was, ready to bring forth. She was ready to deliver a child. She was ready to, birth really more evil, to bring evil forth, because Phinehas was evil, and this was going to be the son of Phinehas, or the child of Phinehas. And so she died. So people that are helping to bring forth wickedness and evil, after God has dealt with those things and those people being removed, they will be removed. And then when the child was born, the child was named Ichabod, which means the glory of the Lord has departed. And the Lord has spoken to me and said, that's what the enemy is, the banner that he's trying to put over the United States of America. The glory of the Lord has departed. But the glory of the Lord, that is the enemy's plan. That is the enemy's banner. The glory of the Lord is coming in a glorious way. The glory of the Lord is coming in such a great way. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be glorious because of the glory of the Lord coming. It's going to be awesome. But God is going to be doing some removing, and that's what he was showing me in that scripture, that he dealt with all of them. And then when they put the Ark of God in with their god, Dagon, what really the Lord did was he knocked that god down. It fell down before the Ark of God, and its head was broken off, and the palms of its hand, kind of like Jezebel, the palms. So no further work of evil and wickedness can be done. It's just going to be thrown down. Wickedness and evil are going to be thrown down. God is not going to, when his glory comes in, the wickedness is going to run out. So I just wanted to share that with you today. And also, it was after that, and I've done a video on that, the Lord talked about divine punishment coming of emerods. That same scripture talks about, when the Ark of God was, in that same place with Dagon, the god, they put it in the same place. God brought a plague of hemorrhoids on the people. He was dealing with their seats because, see, there's a whole trend here about seats. And also, they had a plague of mice and rats, which we have a lot of rats as people in Washington and also in other cities. And so the Lord has said that mice and rats are going to begin to take over cities. Plagues, not just the rats and the mice represent the people that are running around, doing the evil things. And we haven't had, things like that in our country. We've really been brought by many of the rats. They have brought rats into our city. It's a spiritual thing. It's a plague that is coming to cities because we've allowed, people have voted for that. And now we're back basically, in some cities back into the 1700s in diseases and plagues. So wickedness not only brings forth things, spiritually, but physically and the natural. And there are some things that God is about to do, in the earth. And the Lord is moving, but it has a lot to do with seats. All through that scripture, it's basically dealing with seats. And so there's going to be a lot of removing. There's going to be some plagues. God is dealing. And even, as you see in that scripture, a lot of death. And he is going to remove that banner, the banner of Ichabod, the banner that Satan wants to put, that the glory of the Lord is departed. Oh, no, no, no. The Lion of the tribe of Judah has prevailed, and he is about to roar. And the glory of the Lord is coming in a huge way, in a huge way. It's just like Isaiah said, arise and shine, for the glory of the Lord is risen upon you. So I love you, and be expecting good things and be on the lookout for the wonderful, beautiful glory that is coming to God's people. I love you and have a wonderful day.